Welcome to today's lecture on materials. We're going to be focusing on both the tangible and intangible aspects of them. Bramston in 2009 said the ability to challenge accepted perceptions of a material in order to propel thinking towards possible ambiguity and uncertainty can often release a plethora of pure ideas that are instantaneously endorsed. Cross-discipline fertilization of material application is just one of the ways in which we can be quite innovative when it comes to material application. Perhaps so far you've been relying on a little bit of research and your intuition when it comes to material selection, but we want you to think a little bit more deeply, both in terms of the technical and physical characteristics, such as density, strength, and price, but also the intangible aspects of materials, such as consumers' emotions or beliefs. Material selection considerations can include performance requirements, manufacturing costs, sustainability, and for this semester's ritual project, the most important, emotional factors. Where do we find information about materials? There's some really great material libraries around the world, and lucky for us, these are connected to online databases which we can access through the QUT library. Material Connection is an excellent example of this. In industry, we also rely on experiments as well as experts such as material scientists, engineers, and manufacturers. I'm briefly just going to talk about some of the materials listed. First, let's talk about timber. This is familiar for most of us. Sourced from evergreens for softwood and deciduous trees for hardwood, it's easily shaped and formed, and is thought to be good for mass manufacture as it brings a one-off aesthetic and soul to the product. Add to this odor, coloration, texture, and structure, and most people find this a pretty engaging material. Secondly, we have metals. These can be crafted or mass-produced in traditional and in new ways, using techniques such as casting, forging, pressing, and machining, and it's incredibly versatile due to its properties. Next, we have polymers. In many cases, they've actually displaced traditional materials due to their adaptability and versatility. They're able to mimic other more sought-after materials, and due to their flexibility and affordability, they're incredibly popular. Emotionally, they're fun, but, on the other hand, can also give a feeling of no commitment, which has its implications in terms of sustainability. For some, they're familiar and exciting, for others, perhaps mundane and uninspiring. Textiles can be both natural or man-made. They have a long history and tradition, but there's some really great contemporary approaches too, and they are quite versatile. Glass is a really respected ancestry, but also some really great contemporary applications. Its positives are it's strong, enduring, stable, and almost totally inert. On the negative side, though, it's a little brittle in terms of its fragility. But this can make people care for it a little bit more, perhaps. It has a wide range of optical effects and can be produced through blowing, casting, rolling, drawing, moulding, and pressing. Ceramic has both ancient and modern applications. Properties, both of glass and metal, it's resistant to corrosion and decay, strong under compression, and extraordinary in terms of heat resistance. And of course, it's quite beautiful. Paper's a little bit underrated and overlooked. It's a knitting of fibres that can be quite versatile, flexible, and elegant. It can be rigid and lightweight when laminated into a honeycomb structure. Composites is another really exciting area of materials. It combines two or more materials with significantly different properties. Some of them are high-tech, but some of them aren't. Smart materials is a really exciting new field of material development. And of course, there's new materials coming out all the time, some with applications in mind, and others which don't have applications just yet. And this just means there's lots of room for innovation. Biomaterials can be included in this. And of course, when we think about smart materials, most of us think about it as being an additive rather than a subtractive manufacturing process. So do you choose one material, or do you choose many? When it comes to choosing single components, This can be the difference between failure and success. You need to consider the overall aspects as well as the individual components. One material per product can be elegant, it can be easier to recycle, it can be easier to manufacture, it can allow for greater physical exploration and pushing the boundaries, and it can also allow you to better play to the strengths and subtleties of that material. Van Kesteren, Khurana, Heckert, and Kandansha said that understanding consumer experience in creative phases of design can benefit designers, especially the understanding of intangible aspects of materials. And the earlier we think about these things in the design process, the better. Emotions guide, enrich, and ennoble life. They provide meaning to everyday existence, and they render the valuation placed on life and property. For centuries, humans have sought to create functional and decorative artifacts that have increased the quality of life and brought pleasure to their owners and users. So, when we look at these emotions, and there's many of them, do we associate them with materials? Do we associate them with products? Products can have many different meanings for us. They can give us a sense of personal identity. They can give us experiences or show off the experiences we've already had. They have sentimental value. They remind us of loved ones, our wealth, our status, our achievements, and our security. But emotions are also subjective. They rely on many different things. What we feel now, our experiences in the past, and of course, the context in which we're in. So, what is our perception of materials? What do they look like, feel like, smell like, maybe even taste like? Communication occurs with the use of the senses, and all the senses will play a valid role in enriching our experiences. So don't forget to consider all of them. In terms of context, think about what existing materials are used within the space. Is your new product going to blend in or stand out? And what environmental conditions does it need to withstand? With the maintenance, durability, wear and disposal of the material, what considerations do you need to have? How often is it cleaned? Is it going to be repaired? Is the user going to enjoy refinishing it? And how long do they want to keep it? How long do they actively want to use it? What are a product's physical characteristics? Right from when it's bought, through all its stages of uses, through to the time that it's disposed of. And how does it actually get disposed of? Is the user left feeling satisfied or a little heartbroken? We need to remember that we're evolving as consumers all the time, and that our interactions with objects are of course going to change as a result of that. Status and expense can rely on physical properties, but it also relies quite a lot on the intangible properties too, the messages that the materials send to others. Does it fit in? Does it stand out? Is it conventional? We also need to think about people's memories, their experiences, what they associate with certain materials. Does it align with their traditions and values? Or is it more contemporary? Do they assign a character to the material? One of the really interesting things we need to think about is not only the material, but how it's then manufactured. Is it handmade? Is it mass manufactured? How much effort and time is put into transforming the material? Does this come across in the end product? Can we see the skill of the workers involved and the way that it's been assembled? This will all add to the emotional experience. So we've covered quite a lot today, and we need to think about all of these aspects when we're designing and choosing our material selections. It's a lot to think about, but hopefully this gives you a little inspiration to get started. Remember, seek out all of those great sources for materials, chat to your tutors, and we'll send you a list of additional sources of information for you to have a look at.